Page 20, pedal exercise. Normally I wouldn't give a lesson on this. I would incorporate it into the next video, but let's just talk about it. Some people struggle with they're so busy with their hands and all that now you got to add a foot. Really? It gets to be a habit after a while, but the problem is you got to also listen more carefully. So be careful. As far as the notes go, they're just using chords, and this is using left hand. It's easy chords, just going up. Whatever. You can play it with either hand. You can play these chords anywhere. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The important thing is the pedal. So let's talk about the pedal. There's different pedal indications that have been used in music over the years. As music has evolved, they've used different ones. The one in this book is the one that's used the most today. It's the easiest to read. It's the one I like. They're showing you what's known as a legato pedal. So the indication is underneath the bottom staff. The line goes down, that's when you push the pedal down. Yeah. As long as the line goes across, you hold the pedal down, and when the line goes up, you lift the pedal up. Yeah. Well, those little carrot things, that's called a change pedal. That's where you let the pedal up or right back down. It's just dum-dum. It's not real quick. You don't have to get real, you got time, just up and down. It's one motion, so to speak. It's just up, down. You think of it as one thing. We call it a change pedal. And the indication there, the problem with the pedal indication is two things really. One is they don't always put the lines up and down or these little carrot thingies where they go. So you have to be careful on that. The music, really, you gotta learn to listen to the music, and it tells you when to do what. Also, they tend to make the pedaling easy for you, simple for you in these books to begin with, and that usually means a terrible sound. It messes up the music. And I would prefer you not get used to that terrible sound, because you will after a while. You just get you don't even listen anymore. I'd prefer you be a picky peddler and decide, what are we doing and why are we doing it? There's always a reason to pedal. If you don't know why you're pedaling, probably you shouldn't be pedaling. You don't pedal just because the music tells you to. Pedal indications in the music, in most cases, are suggestions. They're what some editor or someone has decided should be. Sometimes the composer puts them in, but you have to be careful about that because the piano has evolved, music has evolved. So 200 years ago, when Beethoven was putting in pedal indications in his music, because he pedaled a lot, those were different instruments than we have now. Those pianos were totally different than. I'm sure he would pedal a little differently today than he did back then. So you just can't blindly take, well, the composer did it this way, this must be what he wanted. Maybe if you're playing on the same kind of instrument he had, it might be, but not in today's instruments. So they're suggestions. Anything I tell you is a suggestion. If you have a teacher, and I hope you do what they tell you to do while you study under them. But after that, it was a suggestion. Some other teacher may tell you differently. So when I learn a piece of music and the process I go through to learn it, the pedal, adding the pedal, is always toward the last. It's after I've learned the notes and the rhythms and articulation and dynamics. And I start getting into interpreting the music, I got to add the pedal there because interpretation and pedaling go together. How you pedal is part of how you interpret the music. It's just like the articulation and dynamics and tempo and all that. That's part of interpreting the music. But we're just kind of mechanically doing what the music tells us to do at first. And then later on, when we know the piece, then we get into it and we start feeling it. That's where the pedal comes in. So let's look at this exercise. The only reason we're pedaling here is because it's a pedal exercise, okay? I'm assuming you know these chords. You can play these chords okay. In fact, you memorize this. You're just going up to here, back down, and here. No big deal, I hope. So at the beginning, I'm going to push the chord down first and then the pedal. The reason is I want to start the sound before I release the overtones, so the sound kind of grows out. Now there's times when I don't do that, but that's the first one we're going to learn because that's the one we use the most. We push the notes down and then the pedal. And then when I get ready to go to the next measure, I'm going to hold the pedal down until right after I play the note in the next measure, and then I'm going to change pedal. So the pedal overlaps. It lags behind it. So it's here. And then the next one, here. And they're all that way. They all overlap. They only overlapping for a moment, and so the ear doesn't seem to mind. Yeah. It takes a little practice to get used to this. Notes first and then the pedal. Notes first and then the pedal. When it gets really tricky and so forth, sometimes I have to change the pedal almost when I play the notes, but that's a little dangerous. It's much better to overlap it. This ensures there's always sound. There's no silence in between, and that's what they're after. Now, why are we changing pedals here? Well, the music says to. No, why else? Well, because the harmony is changing. Generally, you will change the pedal if the chord's changing to a different chord. And this, that's a different chord. All of these are different chords from each other. So it would make sense to change the pedal. If you didn't, that would run them all together. And unless that's the effect you want, then you don't want to do that. If that's the effect you want, then by all means, run them all together. You can do this in both hands. You want practice here. Just go along doing, but this is the pedal we're after here. And they give you the MP or the whatever. I'm not interested in dynamics here. I'm interested in coordinating the pedal with the hands. So it's the hands first, then pedal. Then next. Whatever, get the idea. And then at the very end, the hands and pedal come up together. And that's kind of important. That last measure, when you're doing that, you hold the note down for the full 4 counts and then lift the pedal and the note together. And you say, why? What's the point? Because it's going to sound the same. If I just play it and let go, the pedal can hold it out for 4 counts for me. And the answer to that, for me, the answer is it's poor technique. As long as there's sound coming from the instrument, keep your hands on the keys. Just do it. Just get in the habit. Showy time, there's times where people are showing and all that. That's different. I'm talking about good technique here. And so keep the key down with your finger as long as there's sound coming as best you can. I'm not going to do a play with me here because you can do all of this. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask. But I'm going to be talking about pedal quite a bit as we go through, because there's some slight variations of this pedal indication that we need to talk about.